Kids, I have incredible news! We're going to Disney World for summer vacation! Wowee, Dad, thank you! Hey, Dad, can you remind me where we're going? Oh, we're going to Bear's Killer Creek. It's a fancy new campsite. That sounds awful. Don't worry, Deku. It says in the brochure that the climate is not good enough for bears to live there. Oh, okay. It is the perfect climate for 72-foot-long mosquitoes. I have not made too many long videos this summer. The main reason being, I have the attention span of a banana bread. But, I have been out and about quite a bit this summer. Well, not a lot. Pretty much just more than usual. Usually in the summer, we don't really travel much at all. Plus, we're a family of 8 and can't afford to go to some place like Japan and Hawaii and stuff. So we go by car to most of our vacations. Usually in the summer, we do it one of two ways. One kind of summer, we would go drive to my grandma and grandpa's house for the 4th of July. Then later in the summer, we would go camping with my relatives. On the other side, we would stay here to celebrate the 4th with my dad's side of the family, and then we'd still go camping. That's guaranteed. But this summer, instead of us going to 1 or 2 places, I went to 4. In that time, I could have hung out with my friend Vin maybe 8 times. Vin is goated. It may not sound like much, but hear me out. I'm not a fan of being in small places, like a car, for a really long time. This summer, I drove 20 minutes to a kind of optional church summer camp. It was out of it. 8 whole hours to go camping with my cousins, 3.5 hours to go camping with my church, not optional, and 3 hours to see my grandparents and for my mom to go to a high school reunion. That's a minimum of 14 hours and 15 minutes driving. And that's just to the locations. If we're including the way back, that's 29 hours. The church camp was something called FSY, and I actually really enjoyed it. Sure, it was hot, and I was very out of my comfort zone, but I had a good time. I filled up an entire sketchbook. I hung out with Charlie and our friend Logan. Sorry. And he told me about Deltarune. I actually only really knew about Tana from Deltarune, so I had a thing or two to learn. But now I've actually used my money and bought Deltarune, and now I've finished chapter 5, and I'm feeling the generational Deltarune pain. You know, now would be an awesome time to introduce something I never thought would happen. I have a word from our sponsor! I could legitimately talk about Deltarune for the rest of the video, but that's not the topic, unfortunately. Maybe in the next video. After that, like legitimately 2 weeks after, we went camping with my relatives. I mostly hung out with my cousin Dusty, goated, Charlie, Ian, and my grandma. We pretty much just played card games and went swimming. It was my first time setting up my own tent, which I almost had all to myself. Dusty is a genius at making fun card games that we played a whole lot that week. Charlie and I even taught a group during mandatory church camp how to play. Boom, seamless transition. Yep, clap for me. Yes! This one we did a bunch of stuff with our steak, and we didn't really have a whole lot of time for ourselves. When we did though, we played poker, other card games, and maybe 9 Square. I don't remember too well. In the middle of that camp trip, we went on a 2-mile hike to Lake Louie, and something I thought was funny is that I forgot to bring my tennis shoes camping, but I managed to bring a little fold-out stool, kind of like a camping chair, to a hike. I do not like sitting on dirt, or rocks, or moss, or logs, or anything like that. It was pretty much so worth the blisters, though, because the lake was pretty and everybody was jealous of my super-duper and cool stool. Transitioning. I love my grandparents, all of them, but honestly, we didn't really do anything out of the ordinary, super-duper spontaneous. We relaxed and hung out with my grandparents and cousins and got ice cream. It was very nice. The only unfortunate part for me was the drive back. On the drive back, Ian, who only has a permit, was driving us home, and that happened to give me a bit of anxiety. Then my phone died an hour, and I couldn't watch Smokey Bee, and I had to do something else. Then I started playing the Switch, and that died too. Then I started playing Majora's Mask on a 2DS, and I couldn't be the stupid fish guy. I did not mean to complain. I'm kind of overreacting here, but I was tired and hangry. Cut me some slack. Again, we usually don't go many places on summer vacation, but maybe a year ago, I went to possibly one of the craziest vacations I've ever been on. Last year, I went to the church state building, hopped on a school bus, and went to Trek. Trek is a semi-annual event held by the church where we pretend to be a trekking pioneer family going to Utah for this church. On this trip, we were assigned families and had to drag a wagon through a mountain of hills and trees. The wagon, thankfully, held our tent, sleeping bags, clothes, and other necessities. But let me tell you, the downhills were terrifying. The people in the front who were pulling the wagon had a huge risk of being run over or getting their legs broken, while me and the other people in the back had to stand on our heels to slow down and had to pull with all of our might. And then, during the morning spiritual talk things, the leaders decided the best course of action was to have these on top of the cliffs. The view was beautiful though, I'll tell you that. In all fairness, even though I didn't really enjoy Trek, I'm very glad I went. My Trek family was super nice, we took lots of pictures. I happened to be doodling one day and I told them about my YouTube channel and they're probably watching now. So hey guys! To conclude, I'm glad I went on all these trips, but maybe next summer I'll try to stay in my comfort zone, if my parents allow it. Thanks for watching, please like, subscribe. I'm going to try to be better and release more longer videos, and I'll see you later.